Greetings programs. In this video we're going to be reviewing some very fresh indie releases courtesy of Revolver Records. Yes, this was shipped to me directly from Heavy Metal Records, as a matter of fact. Let's hope that they've sent me the correct item. Looks like I've got an invoice in there as well. We're going to be looking at the Sandkings Anthology, volumes 1, 2, and their latest release, volume 3. For those who don't know, the Sandkings were an independent pop rock band that had some success across much of the nation, originating from Wolverhampton. Most of their early releases were self-released on their own Long Beach records, but later they were assigned to London Records 90. They actually did appear on a few mainstream TV shows like Hangar 17, so they had a fair bit of success really. But then they disbanded too soon, as the lead singer ended up having other plans, as it were. Some of the other members also went on to have their own projects as well, as we can see courtesy of this and this. Anyway, some of the members have rebanded with the intention of writing and releasing some new material sometime in the future, and they have now re-released all of their back catalogue in CD format. This is quite notable since for years most of the early releases could only be had in the form of vinyl singles, and the later CD singles are incredibly hard to come by on the second-hand market, nearly non-existent, and their only album, Welcome to England, does sometimes command a pretty penny, about £20 for the CD or about £70 for the vinyl. I've not even seen the cassette version for sale. Okay, so let's have a look at these releases. Right, so we have Anthology 1, which covers most of their Long Beach years, from 1987 to 1989. The Anthology 2 covers the years from 1990 to 1991, which covers, I think, basically all of the singles they released on London Records 90. And Anthology 3 is basically a remaster of Welcome to England, with some minor changes to the track listing and some extra tracks as well, some extra remixes and a couple of session demos. Okay, so let's have a look. Anthology 1. This also covers some of the really early material of the band's original singer, Andy Parton, who fell the wayside, as it were, in exchange, and was replaced by Jazzman. So we have Primrose Avenue, Fountains, that was an unreleased single. Rain on One of These Days, that was their debut single, and the only one to be released with Parton on the vocals. And then we have Hope Springs Eternal Onwards, which begins the years with Jazzman's vocalist. And that's it. Spiral Steps and One of These Days, both of those were actually the B-side to Rain. Fountains was the B-side to, well, the intended B-side to the unreleased Primrose Avenue single. Of course, we have the Anthology 2. As I say, this is mostly all of the singles and the majority of the... what's the name of their EP? What's the name of their 1992 EP? They released an EP in 1992, but I can't quite seem to remember the name of it. Never mind. Anyway, if we see there, we can actually see the band's original logo that was sometimes printed on some of their 12-inch releases, I think. So the 12-inch version of... Is it the 12-inch version of Earthwheel. Was it the 12-inch version of Temple Redneck? I'm not sure. My memory's really quite bad on this. But yeah, these were shipped directly from Revolver Records. And here's the freshest of releases. As I speak, on the 25th of September, this was released on the 22nd. Yeah, I pre-ordered this. This is basically a remaster of Welcome to England, minus the first track being replaced by one of the tracks from the 1992 EP, which gives the album a slightly different feel. So Temple Redneck has been swapped over for Fragile instead, which does introduce the album on a rather different note. And of course we have some Square One sessions, which are basically demo mixes of some of the eventual tracks that would make it on the album, including Temple Redneck, which was featured on the original release of Welcome to England, but has now been swapped out for Fragile on this remaster. And we also have the alternate mixes of Earthwheel, which I believe were featured on the 12-inch cut, or was it an external remix EP? I'm not sure actually. I think there was 2 different 12-inch releases of Earthwheel. One containing those mixes, and another one I think containing a mix that wasn't really all that different from the 7-inch or the video mix. I'm not sure. There was quite a few different versions of Earthwheel. Probably their most remixed track. And if you've been reading this particular quote here, then let's just say that one Nina Simone cannot be wrong. Okay, so let's open this one up, being a fresh sliver of indie pop. They're not shrink wrapped, surprisingly, but they've actually got these plastic covers, which is nice. I think I'd probably like to keep these fairly immaculate. Okay, so this is Anthology 3 we are looking at. Everything's pressed on this kind of fake vinyl. It's actually got a texture to this. If you feel along there, you can actually feel the grooves of the vinyl. So, of course, it's designed to look like a little 7-inch single. Look underneath and you'll realise that 5-inch singles don't necessarily exist, but this is actually red. This is a surprise. I was expecting this to just be yet another average silver CD, but this is actually cherry red. Well, that's cool. We have the old school Sandkings logo. That was actually featured on the front cover of the Temple Redneck single. Yes. Very nice. Okay, so we have all songs produced by Sean Fulton, engineered by Arpad Toth Wallingford in May 1991. All songs written by Brown, Dodd, Kirkbride and Mann. All songs fully digitally remastered by Vince Hall at Bridlington between 2020 and 2021. Okay, let's have a look inside the booklet. Now, I'm only going to show you a few pages of this because I don't want to completely spoil it. But I'm just going to have a quick look and I'll show you a couple of what I think are highlights. I don't want to make this a complete spoiler, but just an overview to give you an idea on what you'd be getting if you're considering buying any of these Sandkings Anthology releases. Well, there's plenty of full colour photographs to be found in there. This particular release only has a four-page booklet. But this is the last spread. We have a thank yous page, and you'll see that you'll have some full colour photographs of the Sandkings and their many associates. The other 3 pages is all photographs. There's no text, it's all just full coloured photographs. As we can see, all credits are acknowledged on the back of the release. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's have a quick look at Anthologies 1 and 2 before we wrap this video up. I'm just a bit curious to actually find out if the CDs themselves are like of a different colour. Mainly that. But yeah, that's cool. Let's have a look at Anthology 2. Again, I'm not going to be spoiling too much, but I'm just quite interested if it just so turns out that these CD releases have to have coloured booklets. Now this feels a little bit heavier than Anthology 3, which makes me believe that maybe the booklet is a little bit thicker. Okay. Do I get the feeling that this is going to be another cherry red coloured release? Oh yes, it is. I'm surprised to see CDs in this colour, because I was aware, was it The Pale Emperor, one of the Marilyn Manson albums? That was actually pressed at the original Austrian factory where the original PlayStation 1 discs were pressed, so the disc had a black colour to it. Okay, so we've got all these different engineering credits. Yeah, we can see this booklet's a little bit thicker than that of Anthology 3. One, two, three. Well, it's actually only yet still another 4-page booklet, but it does feel a bit thicker. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just imagining things. But again, we can definitely see some worship going about here. But rather than just photographs of the band, this actually shows some memorabilia. Yep, some of the original album covers, advertising memorabilia. I'm not sure who that is, but we can definitely see that person certainly likes Sandkings. Okay, so that's Anthology 2. And we'll have an idea on what's to be found in Anthology 1. And then we're going to wrap this video up. Because Vic Larrett is one busy bee. With a lot of problems. Again, Sandkings Volume 1. Interesting colour. It looks black, but it's got a very... I'd actually say this is not so cherry toned actually, this is more blue toned. It's not cherry, oh it's blue. It's like a very dark blue tone to it. That's interesting. Sorry about the crackling of my voice. I've been very unwell this month. Well, not very, but definitely quite unwell. General functioning of a human being is being shitty at best. I'm having some issues trying to get the booklet out because the front page is sticking to the plastic with utmost static, which sounds rather much like a rather catchy set of song lyrics by themselves. For those who don't know, Sandkings is kind of like baggy power pop, Manchester type music. God, this is a nightmare to get undone. So I'm just going to have to pause the video. Yeah, just had to get a pen knife to slide it out. For some reason it was just sticking, just being really bloody annoying. Right, there's the front page. Yeah, we have a nice variety of photos of memorabilia. It's quite probable that we might have a photo of Andy Parton there. Yeah, I think that's Andy Parton in that photo shoot. So, yeah, that gives you an idea on what to expect from these releases. I can tell you that this is a 4-page booklet of sorts. So there we have it. Sandkings Anthology. Out now, ready to be bought from Revolver Records. Okay, keep rocking. Have a nice one.